Well, hello YouTube, and welcome to another Yukon Bob video. Sorry, it's been a long time since the last video, probably about a month since I've been out on the Seadoo. Middle of August, here we are the middle of September, finally getting back out on the Seadoo. Just other things have been happening. I was away for a while, and then the winds were kind of blowing quite a bit, so I just never had a chance to get back out again. So a month later, here I am back at Lake Simcoe, north of Toronto, out on the Seadoo this 16th day of September. Cloudy, overcast day, but the winds are going to be calm today, and that means the lake will be fairly like glass out there. At least I'm hoping that. I'm just at Keswick, pulling out of the marina here. Going to head out onto Simcoe Lake. Not going to be a big day. Just going to spend 4 hours probably putzing around back and forth on the lake. I just changed the oil in the Seadoo, and I changed the spark plug. So it was 100 hours. It's my second oil change, and I changed the spark plugs while I had it all apart. I don't know if you're supposed to change them that quickly, but I threw 3 new spark plugs in just for the heck of it on the GTX 300 Limited. So let's go out on Lake Simcoe, have a look around, see what things look like out there. But it's nice and calm, at least here in the harbor, and that flag over there is a pretty good indicator that things are pretty calm out there as well. There's the police boats. They're in the bay, in the harbor. Good to know. Not that I ever do anything wrong. A lot of weeds laying on the top of the surface here. I don't want to get caught up in those, so I'll just go around those. Pretty quiet in the harbor today. The fuel dock down there, it's open, but nobody's there. It's getting towards the end of the season. It won't be too long before they start pulling all of these boats out. All right, let's go. There are some really beautiful cottages along Lake Simcoe. There's some old ones that have been here for years and years, and then of course there's these monstrosities that people have built. Like this one here is pretty modern looking. That's a massive, massive home. It's got to be 10,000, 11,000 square feet, maybe more. Water a little shallow right out front. Bit of a sandy, muddy bottom. Even the breakwater is pretty elaborate all the way around the property. There are some older cottages that aren't all that big and that have been here for years and years and years, but then you get these things too. The thing with this lake though is that there's not many places that it's just completely isolated where there isn't something. All the way around the whole lake. Every square meter has got something on it. Not too many places that are open. Well, the wind predictor was right. It is pretty nice and calm out here. It's going to get to about 20 degrees today, Celsius. And of course, being a Monday, not a lot of traffic on the lake, which is good. It's really nice. Don't know how many more times I'm going to get out this year, but it'd be nice to do some runs out here in the fall when the colors start changing, but that's a ways off yet. That won't be till in October somewhere. I think the sun's even trying to come out. Looks clear down that way. Maybe that's coming this way and we'll get some real sun this afternoon. There's a ferry that runs from right over there, and it runs across here over to the island. So people have cottages out on the island as well, and the ferry runs back and forth. Not sure what the schedule of it is, but it runs from right here straight across. Just spotted this little archway up here. See that Seadoo coming underneath it right there? I think we're going to go up and check it out and see what it's all about. Have a look at it. All right, no wake zone, dead slow. Let's go under, go under. Hello! Now you can see a little bit of color in that tree there, not much, but things are starting to change a little bit. Look at these cute little places here. just a light breeze today. So I said a bit earlier that I had done an oil change on the Seadoo at 100 hours of use, which was just about an hour ago. And I don't know what you guys have found if you've done your own oil changes where you've got to pump the oil out through the dipstick, which is how you get the oil out on these Seadoos. I bought a pump, like a hand pump kind of thing from Princess Auto, and I was using that with a hose and then a reduction in that hose to fit inside of the dipstick. But the problem is you've really got to pump pretty hard to suck that oil out of there. It's not an easy thing to pump it out, so I went and bought a thing that you can hook an electric drill onto to pump the oil out. You know, it was $10, $12, whatever the heck it was. And you hook your drill onto it, and the line sucks the oil out from the dipstick and into the little pump thing where the drill is, and then out the other end. But I used that, and it sort of worked okay, but then it failed about 3/4 of the way through, and it wouldn't suck any more oil. And I knew that there was more oil in there, because it should have had, you know, more oil in the reservoir container that I was pumping into. So I kind of then had to go back to the hand pump thing, which did pump a little bit more oil, but I don't know if you guys have got any suggestions as to what is an easier way to change oil in one of these things. I just found that whole process to be fairly cumbersome and labor intensive. It's got to be a bit of an easier way. Maybe a bigger kind of a floor pump thing with one of those pump handles might work a little better. I'm not sure, but leave some comments below if you've got some thoughts on how you change oil in one of these Seadoos, pumping it out of the dipstick. I mean, the process isn't all that complicated. There's just got to be a little bit of an easier way to do all of that. Well, we have a problem. We have a problem on this trip. I have sucked in some rocks. I got into some shallower water, and I could hear some rocks being sucked up in. And now I have nothing more than this for propulsion. It's just sort of in forward, and I'm crawling ahead. I tried to tip it over in the water, but it's really hard to kind of get underneath. And with one person, it's kind of hard to roll it over a bit, but I'm gonna make my way to Quinn's Marina, which is where I bought this thing from. I'm not all that far from there. It's around that point of land up there, then back up a little river system. I have no power any more than this. As soon as I try to give it some gas, I'm getting that sort of cavitation sound. Forward and reverse, I've tried both ways to try and loosen up whatever is in there, or maybe there's been some damage actually to the prop itself, so I don't really know, but I'm not that far from where I bought it. So I phoned them and I told them I'm gonna crawl like this all the way over there and head in there and see what they could do. Maybe they can pull it out of the water. I don't know if I've caused any major damage, but there is some problem here. So heading over to Quinn's Marina, and we'll see what happens when we get there. There's a ferry coming. I hope we don't run into one another here, because I don't have much in the way of propulsion. I guess this is why it's sort of a good idea not to Seadoo alone. You could at least be towed if you had another Seadoo or something with you, but I am not in that situation. I am alone. I guess the good side of it is that I still have forward thrust power. This is about as fast as I can go, so I'm just crawling along. If I go any faster, you can hear, you just get that cavitation sort of sound. So I'm slowly making my way there. It'll probably take me 40-45 minutes to get there. I did have a temperature warning, exhaust temperature warning come on just briefly, but that was because I was in pretty shallow water, I think, and I wasn't able to suck enough water, so I turned it off real quick and I got back into deeper water. But just now crawling along. Thank goodness I do have some forward propulsion, or I'd be kind of stuck in the middle of the shoreline somewhere with nobody home at these cottages, because it's a weekday, it's a Monday. But I am going to be able to make it, I think, over to Quinn's, so wish me luck as we crawl along here. Well, it's at Quinn's Marina. This is where she came from, where I bought it. And it's been pulled out of the water. So somebody's going to take a look at it, I think, for me to see what we can do.
It needs a new wear ring for sure, and the color cleaned up.
Is the impeller damaged?
It's got some damage on the impeller, yeah.
You can see it, can you?
Yeah. Just curl the edges over a bit.
Right.
Didn't get too shredded.
Yeah, there's a rock still stuck in there.
Is there? That's why I got no forward propulsion, I guess.
Yeah.
It's back home again where it came from. Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Once he lets us know what to do,
Right.
we're going to give you a ride back to Canada.
That would be fantastic. So, a wear ring, need that, and it sounds like an impeller, need that. They could grind the old one down, but then what happens is you may not have it exactly balanced. So I think if they're going to go all the way in there and do that, they might as well put a new impeller on, do that, and the wear ring, and we'll be good to go. Probably be about $400 by the time we're done.